Just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if they're sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right, this is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 219. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benesowitz, and the New York Knicks get Series 1. They defeat the 76ers in 6, 4-2. Up next for the Knicks is the Indiana Pacers, which begins on Monday evening. Games 1 and 2 at the Garden, Monday and Wednesday. But we're here to first start talking about the Knicks and their win in Philly. All 6 games, really an intense, incredible series, back and forth, all games, anybody's game. But the Knicks win when it matters most, and they get the series and they advance. And Alex, I know you were at the game. I specifically told you via text, I do not want to hear about any of your trip until we get to the show. Thought it'd be much more interesting for me to hear it first time than the third time we're talking about somebody from Philly who said, go fuck yourself. Alex, good morning. I know how you're doing. I'll skip it. No, I can't. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. And sorry for my voice, everybody. I still sound like, I don't know, insert your joke here. And, please subscribe, give us thumbs ups, everything, thank you. And what a day that was on Thursday. It's now Saturday morning and I still have no voice. It was a lot of fun. And, I almost nailed the series. I called Knicks in 5. It should have been Knicks in 5 and almost was. And I was 100% confident and still was the whole way. And ended up winning in 6. And it was a lot of fun, man. We had some good seats. Me and Bootylicious. He's at Bootylicious on Twitter. We had a great time all day. And I don't know, man. I'm still happy. I'm still excited. I'm happy to get a little break that we don't have to have a game until Monday. We needed a little bit of a break after that series was intense. So, I don't know. Fire away with your questions, man.
Well, first off, do not say, oh, the Knicks should have won in 5, because we could play that game the whole series.
I know, with
the
game
76ers
2
are winners. Yeah. So yeah. That series was interesting on the level of that every game essentially went down to the end. I mean, it didn't matter.
Besides game 3 was the only one.
Game 3, it was something where it was big lead, shrunk, final 2 minutes, something wild happens, good or bad for your team. And the Knicks just had more good than bad. And, to me, ultimately it comes down to Jalen Brunson was just the next level great. I mean, he was true superstar and did everything that you need to carry your team on their back. And clearly he did that in the clutch, especially in game 6. He was remarkable. What was it like? I will say this from a TV perspective, obviously there was still a ton of Knicks fans, but it didn't have that Knicks home game feel. It was, it felt more like a 75-25%, but the Sixers fans obviously were there. But when, the Knicks scored, they got quiet. You could hear the Knicks, but it had a different, you were in the building, so I want to hear from you what you thought of it. But from my end, watching on TV, it definitely felt like more of a Sixer crowd than that game before, which was just pathetic.
Yeah, it wasn't like game 4 seemed on TV, but in person for game 6, there were definitely Knicks fans there. Yeah. And it seemed like a lot more going into the game. But going into the game, just walking into the arena, there was like a bottleneck for some reason. They didn't open the gates until like a little after 8:00, which was strange. So everybody was kind of standing around. And then once you start going in, and there was like friendly chants of let's go Knicks, let's go Sixers. But there were a lot of Sixers fans that seemed like pissed, and they were like ready to cheer, and they were embarrassed. And not only the 2,000 tickets they gave away, but they brought out all the stops. They brought out Bradley Cooper. They brought out Meek Mill. They brought out every Philly person you could think of. There were a couple players on the Phillies. I didn't even know who the hell they were. And I'm a big baseball fan. You know what I mean? Like, I missed the name and I'm like, who the hell is that? You know what I mean? Kind of a thing. Yeah. They had like a special teamer for the Eagles. And I was just like sitting next to Saquon Barkley. And it was just like, okay, and I'm exaggerating obviously, but it was just, it was kind of weird, but it was probably 75-25 Sixers fans there. And there were Knicks fans there. It wasn't like, I've been to away games where, I'm like, wow, they're like, I got to watch myself. You know what I mean? Like, I happened to be sitting next to my, the person I went with, Bootylicious. And then there were 2 Knicks fans sitting behind us. And then literally 4 or 5 minutes late in the game, we thought we had 2 seats next to us and we had space. And then this couple comes in, and I'm talking coming to America, Eddie Murphy kind of guy comes in, and I'm just like, oh fuck. Like he's taller than me, and I'm 6'1". This guy's like 6'5". And I'm like, God damn. And I'm sitting next to Bootylicious, who's like 6'3", and I'm sitting in between. I'm usually like the tall one, and I'm sitting there like this little shrimp. And all of a sudden he goes, "We're up, let's go." And I'm like, "Oh, it's a Knicks fan." And it was awesome the whole game. We were
That's
sitting
cool.
around, at least had a little circle of Knicks fans to cheer with and jump up and down and slap five with. So that was cool. That helped. And there was one part that was kind of pathetic during the game. I forgot the sequence, but the Knicks hit some big shot or did something great, and then the Sixers called timeout, and like the crowd went nuts, and Knicks fans were, "Let's go Knicks, let's go Knicks," and the Sixers blasted the music to a level that I've never heard in an arena before, where I couldn't even hear myself think. It was so sad. That
Well,
was like pathetic.
Well, I
Honestly.
I actually would disagree that that's pathetic. I think it's the right move to do. It's your home arena. You got to drown it out. It's the right decision. Maybe I have experience from it as a
I
net
don't know,
fan at
man.
Continental Airlines Arena, but you have to drown it out. You have to. You have to drown it. You can't
Win
be
the
in your
game.
well, pathetic on the sense of what it, I would say I would say less pathetic on the arena for doing that, because I think in that moment, what do you need to do something so your home arena doesn't sound like MSG. What's more pathetic is that it got to that point where that had
Had to.
that had to be
Yeah.
implemented to stop it. That to me is like, once you're in there and you're doing that, so it's like, blast that fucking thing. We do not want to hear them. I totally understand that. It's more of just, it shouldn't have gotten to that point. But
Right.
the Sixers have been just how many straight years, but basically what they did this year, insert 6 straight years, first or second round exits with some really bad losses too. If you think
And the
about the
process
Hawks
leading into that.
series with
Yeah.
Ben Simmons, Harden getting traded, so they're a little bit of a jaded fan base.
Mhm.
And the Knicks, not the exact opposite. A team that's on the rise and can sense blood and can sense that it's their first time. That, and I don't think I'm out of turn saying this. I think you would agree. Yes, they've made the playoffs 3 out of 4 years, but first time in recent memory in a long time, Knicks fans feel like they have a chance to do something beyond a series win and do something special in the playoffs. So they feel that too. And you can sense the difference. And Nick fans, to their credit, went into Philly and did their thing. I did find it amusing, and I know you posted a video of yourself waving goodbye to Sixer fans, and what I found funny about it was on social media, the Knick fans defending you and being like, how dare Philly people do that? Like, God bless you if you want to do that. That's your choice. But people can't be like surprised or upset if you have a camera on and you're antagonizing Sixer fans who are at their lowest moment, who just got punked and embarrassed as a fan base level. Their Sixers team lost another horrific game, which they had a lead in, and they blew. Like, what? Like, no offense, but I don't blame them. Like, if it was the other way around, and if it was the Sixer fan at the Garden and the circumstances swapped and people were antagonizing Knick fans and waving, they'd be like, oh, that guy deserves to be punched. And I'm not saying you did or didn't, but that's how it would be viewed. So of course you're going to get a beer thrown at you. You're being, as I want to claim it now, not Knicks for clicks. You're being a dick for clicks. And it worked.
Honestly, yeah. And if people didn't see it, it was me after the Knicks won, like I'm on the team. After the Knicks won, I'm doing a selfie video of the fans going up the stairs, and I'm waving goodbye. Like, see you next year. You know what I mean? Things like that. Bye, Knicks in 6. I wasn't cursing at anybody, to be fair. And a couple fans just like looked at me like, all right, yeah, I know, and it's all in fun. But then this one guy goes, yo, fuck you.
Right.
Like, yeah. I'm like, bye. And I kept saying bye to him. And then he threw a beer at me, and I kept waving bye to him as he's walking up the steps. He wasn't a threat. He was just being a dick.
Right.
And back to me, I would, totally was antagonizing. And you said it to me on Twitter. It was like, well, this one I think you deserved. I was like, yeah, totally. But you know what? Next one, I don't give a shit.
No,
The guy
right.
threw The guy threw a beer at me like it was an ephus pitch from El Duque. Like it was the slowest like thing I've ever felt in my life. He throws like, like he's never thrown anything in his life. And that's typical Philly, I'm sure. And it was pretty funny how like, I just find the whole thing hilarious because I was being a dick, but you know what? Like they deserved it. You know what I'm saying? Like the things that I saw in that arena before and after during the game were pathetic from Sixers fans. Like I said, they blasted the music during a timeout when Knicks fans started chanting "Let's go Knicks." They're telling fans on the arena screen on the jumbotron to chant MVP for
They've been
Embiid
doing
when he's
that
at the line.
They've been
But
doing
that's
that
pathetic.
forever.
That's
No,
pathetic.
I just want to give context that I've seen that too. When I went and I've only gone to playoff games, so I don't know if
Oh,
it's
in Philly. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
No.
Hmm.
When I went to see Nets Sixers last year,
Okay.
they did the same thing with Embiid. They put up the MVP chants.
Right.
I saw
Right.
that. I'm just telling you, I have seen it with my own
I believe you. I
brown
believe you.
eyes. I've seen it.
My own brown eyes.
Well, I have
Yeah,
brown eyes.
And then
I don't have blue
pregame.
eyes. What do you want from me?
Well, did they also pregame? They handed out towels to everybody, and then they said pregame. They're telling fans like, "Wave your towels so we know you're there." Literally was a quote. I wish I had it on video. I'm not lying, and that's pretty pathetic too. So there's still all that together. I lost a lot of respect for Philadelphia Phillies, Philly fans, yes, Sixers fans, all of them. Lost all respect for them from this series. The way that they are justifying everything online, the way that they're crying, the way the stupid fans that were sitting in front of me that like thought that when Hartenstein got punched in the face. Like accidentally, like they're like, that's not a foul. What are you talking about? And I called it the moment it happened. I'm like, he's on the floor, he's bleeding. Like, what are you guys talking about? You know what I mean? And then I was able to pat myself on the back when they reviewed and we won that one. And it was a couple of the Sixers fans around me were cool. One guy behind me was cool. We shook hands. Another guy to the left, it was just normal trash talk. The four guys in front of me were absolute morons. But it was a good time, man.
Now you know how I feel when I would go to Knick games all the time, and I'd have to hear the morons in front of me with, "Oh, we should make Latrell Sprewell the head coach."
Oh yeah, because one guy said it. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that is right. But when you're in the belly of the beast.
Well, you know what? You're wearing a Giant shirt right now. If you're watching on YouTube on Bad Weather Fans, and I went to that Jets Giants game in 2015 when the Jets won. It was a Giants home game when the Jets won with the Brandon Marshall catch and the field goal at the end. I'm walking out of that stadium, and you can imagine. You see me at games, like I'm exactly on Twitter as I am at games, and I am screaming after that game and yelling like, "Let's go Jets! We got him!" Blah, blah. Screaming, and one guy walks into me and shoulder bumps me in the back, and I go to grab him by the back of the and then he like runs away, and I was like, "You motherfucker, you fucking pussy!" And I'm like, I'm like all over the place, and. I got to calm down a little bit, but I don't, once I'm in that environment, I just, I'm just so like over the top. And, I love my team. I love my teams. I'm a diehard fan. What can I
of course.
say?
You're in there. It's a huge game. You've invested and paid money for good seats. You're next to a good friend, in Mike B. And I'm sure you're juicing each other up, and
he is loud too, man. He's loud, like Bootylicious. He is louder than me. He wouldn't stop the whole.
But there's also it's funny because I think sometimes too, when you go to a road environment like that, it's almost you want to represent and be louder. And I'm sure Mike's listening to this right now, going, I'm loud like this in all the games. I do this at home crowds, but there is something because I know that feeling of when you go to a road game where you just like want to puff your chest a little bit more. Like you can feel it. I don't know. That's just my.
No, that was one of the best games I've ever been to, and I've been to thousands of games in my life. And
it was a great.
That's I'm not.
On the court itself, Knicks jump out to a monstrous lead early. It's 33-11, and then the Sixers come roaring back. Buddy Hield is making three after three after three, and then Sixers chip until they finally take the lead. They go up 5. That big Hardenstein dunk at the end of the first half makes it 3. Early, middle of the third quarter-ish, Sixers start pushing again. They extend the lead to like 8-9 points, and to the Knicks' credit, every time it got there, they came back, they punched back, and they're only down 3 going into the fourth. And at that point, I'm like, wow, they're in this game again. But the way this series went, that Anunoby dunk, which was unbelievable, to go up 8, but the Sixers come back and tie the game. And the way this free throw. the way
Yeah,
this series went,
yeah.
it was not shocking. It was like everything, you knew it would always just come back, and it came back to Josh Hart, who Jalen Brunson drew the defense over, gave himself a wide open three from top of the key, and crushed it. And unlike the other game where he missed a free throw, this one was the opposite. He hit the three, and Josh Hart was as below average as a shooter as he has come up big when the opportunity has been there for his 3-point shot. In game 1, in game 6, he hit some huge threes and really helped the Knicks and helped Jalen Brunson when they needed him to advance. And now they move on to play a Pacers team who just finished off the Bucks the same night in 6, and it sets up Knicks with the home court game 1 on Monday. And for me, I have a lot more. I think the Pacers are a lot better than you're about to realize, and I'm very excited. I think the Pacers win this series, and that's not a hater standpoint. I really do. I really do. And I know I'd love, I know we'll get into a discussion here and have it be more than just like a smile and the Knicks are good. Like, I really do believe this Pacer team has weapons that will be a challenge for the Knicks. I think for the Pacers, the biggest difference again is going to be, can they defensive rebound against a Knicks team that is relentless on the glass? But I think there's challenges that the Pacers present that are different than the Sixers. And the Pacers have a all-world point guard, a rebounding point guard in Halliburton that will make challenges for the Knicks. A floor spacer and Miles Turner, who can go out and shoot the three, but also is a rim protector and can jump, unlike Embiid. I think this is going to be a hell of a series, and one that will surprise Knicks fans with just how good Indiana is.
Hey, listen, I'm not afraid of the Indiana Pacers.
But why should? But who asked you? But I'm not saying be afraid. Like, at this point, if you're in the second round of the NBA playoffs, I don't think Josh Hart's going in afraid. I just believe that Indiana has more talent that's being that you'll realize in real time, just like Sixer fans did with the Knicks. I picked the Knicks in 6, so it's not like I'm not. I like I don't know. It's something. My fear for the Knicks in this series is, at some point you have to play more than 6 guys in your rotation.
Oh, I agree with that.
And Indiana is deep, man. They have in the playoffs. In the playoffs, your bench is shortened, but they cannot get away with, and you cannot get away with playing 6 guys and Deuce McBride to like, it's 6 guys and Deuce as the 7th to spell Jalen Brunson a minute. Like, guys have to get minutes.
I hear you. You have to, the Knicks for this series versus the Pacers, they have to dust off Alec Burks. And, you have 3 days to get him ready. You just come in for 3 to 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Shoot 1 3 and then sit down. Like, you need something. And, he's good enough to, even if he's been off and he was terrible in the regular season after they got him back, you have to play Alec Burks in this series. You can't go 7 deep. And, you have Precious Achiuwa, who's ready to go just in case Mitchell Robinson or Hartenstein get hurt. You don't really need him. You know what I'm saying? You need a guard. You need a wing, somebody who could spell the guys, because I'm watching this game in Philly, and it's like, these guys have been on the court the entire game, and I'm not like home watching the box score. Like, I'm just watching it without looking at my phone. I'm like, this is crazy. But at the end of the day, I really think the Knicks are going to sweep the Pacers. They are so on fire, and they are so locked in. And the Pacers only beat the Bucks because Giannis and Dame were hurt. And, I have no respect for them. I honestly really don't. The Knicks have not lost back-to-back games with OG Anunoby in the lineup. And I know you love that stat, but it's still true. And they've played, 30-something games with him? Like, that's a lot, man. And, well, I don't know if it's 30-something, whatever, it's close to that. And I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think the Knicks have the better team. They have the better home court advantage. They have the home court advantage. They, are going to get 3 days off like they need. It's just, I don't know, man. I think they have better centers.
I understand.
Better player.
They have the best player in the series. I would then say Indiana probably has the second and third best. But I wouldn't say it's by much.
Well, they
but
definitely
I
the
would.
second best. Yes, for sure. They
I
definitely the second
mean,
best.
we
Yeah,
could do the
for sure.
Siakam. We could do a
Siakam and OG. I
argument.
mean, I don't know. OG Anunoby and Siakam know each other from Toronto, so we'll
Right.
see how that
Siakam. I
goes.
mean,
Yeah,
Siakam's a perennial all-star. He's a much better
right.
scorer. He can
Scorer
get.
for sure.
He can score the basketball.
Yes, he can. Playoff
Anunoby,
experienced as well, of course.
Anunoby can score. He can create his own shot. He doesn't do it often. I think he's going to probably have to need to do it.
Foul line jumpers,
But
money from OG Anunoby.
no, I get
Yeah.
you. I get you. And if Jalen Brunson is going to, continue to be a 40 plus, and what did I say, Alex, before the series started versus Philly? I said for Philly to win, they need to keep Brunson to 25 to 32. If he does this 40 stuff, they're going to win. And he did.
Well, they won game 1 and 2, and he had 20s. So, but they still won.
Right. But as this thing got elevated, you could see if he doesn't score in those fourth quarters like he did, Embiid shriveled, Brunson didn't. Brunson showed up to the moment and destroyed. Embiid disappeared.
Yeah,
overall,
in the fourth quarter.
These games were
one
close.
Good fourth quarter. That's
all these games were close.
Yeah, Embiid had one good fourth quarter, and that was game 3 when he just went nuts. And that was it. The rest of the fourth quarters, he was He was nothing. He was garbage.
Yeah.
But the
Pacers are going to bring waves. Pacers
will
bring waves of people like T.J. McConnell's going to come in. Obi Toppin's going to come in. They're going to bring energy. There's also this misconception that Indiana's just going to chuck up threes. Like the Knicks won games in the series when they made their 3-point shots. They lost when they did not. Dante DiVincenzo, 23 points, made his threes.
Right.
Josh Hart made those threes. So this idea that the Knicks are, and they're a great defensive team, but they don't rely on the 3-point shot as well is a complete misnomer. I mean, they live and die by it too. So I know everybody's going to be like, oh, the Pacers just take a bajillion threes and run up and down the court. The Knicks, the slow defensive pace team. No, the Knicks are going to take a lot of 3-point shots. Brunson, Hart, Anunoby, DiVincenzo's usually taking 7 to 10 a game. I mean, these guys shoot. Deuce McBride, who made an absolute monster 3 just when Brunson was out. That was a huge shot. I think, I know you don't respect the Pacers now and all the reasons you laid out. I think your mindset will change on them fast.
It's also that's fine. And it's also the Sixers are an amazing free throw shooting team. Like they just did not miss from the line in game 6. And overall, they were the second best free throw shooting team in the league this year. And the Pacers were the 13th and the Knicks were the 16th. So they're kind of even there where it's like the Sixers, if they got fouled, like they were making both free throws. It was
Embiid.
maddening.
Yeah, he makes them. Mm-hmm.
Like it's not even Embiid, it's Maxey, it's everybody. Like the entire team, like in game 6, they were like what, like 20 of 21 or 19 of 20, like something absurd. If they were like a normal free throw shooting team, like that game's over. And it's just crazy. And I think like that's the difference also, where it's like you feel like you're winning these games with the Sixers, and all of a sudden the game is still close. And you're like, why is this so close? And it's because they just don't miss, at the line. And that's definitely a big threat for a big help for the Knicks in this series. So I don't know, man. I just feel that the Knicks are rolling and they really need this break, and it's going to help. And they're coming home.
Yeah, it does help.
And the only difference is that Knicks fans are not traveling to Indiana.
Pacers have a good home court.
They do. They do. They love their teams.
They love their basketball, and it's. I mean, we'll make 90s Knicks fans. We'll make 90s Pacers.
You go 2013 with the Melo year too. We can do that too. You know what I mean? Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. That's going to be different. That'll be, I know it sounds weird because you're like, oh, Indiana versus Philly, but
no.
Pacers
Indiana's like one of the capitals of basketball in this country. Yeah.
Like, and there won't be the Knicks fan traveling. There will be Knicks fans in the building. I'm sure of it.
If it gets to a game 6, Knicks fans, I think, will travel. But games 3 and 4 are Friday is game 3, and game 4 is Sunday, which is Mother's Day. So I don't think a lot of Knicks fans are traveling to Indiana and missing Mother's Day.
And here's the difference too. The secondary market with the Sixers. The Pacer fan is like the Knicks fan. The Pacers have not been good. They've started to get better. Now, I don't know the exact Pacer.
No, it's a great point.
They are a team that is in the similar fashion that is ascending. And we poke fun at the midseason tournament. But remember those games, and they were kind of wild, right? And how much energy. The Pacer fan, like the Knicks fan, is ready to erupt. They've got a young point guard in Tyrese Halliburton. I don't think he's as good as Brunson. Calm down, everybody.
Star. He's a star.
But
Oh, yeah.
they have all the makings of a fun team with Obi Toppin off the bench, TJ McConnell off the bench. I mean, it's a team
Shepard.
that has
Yeah.
been
No, they're good.
rising. So you got to, it's similar like that. This fan base is not like the Sixer fan base. This is one that's it is passionate about their team.
Right, right. No, and they're good. They're good. And the one thing was they didn't have a lot of experience, people are saying, but they do. They got Siakam, who's won a title. They got Miles Turner, who's been around. Obi Toppin has experience with the Knicks. TJ McConnell has experience. You know, these guys have been around the block.
Sure.
It's not like they just showed up with a bunch of guys that are all like the Thunder, which are just they're just so good. But you know, it doesn't matter if they have experience or not. And they played, you know, a team that was injured. But point is like the Pacers have experience. I'm just not worried. I just think the Knicks are just loaded right now, and they are, if they can stay healthy and they can work on their rotations and they can stay like above the fatigue level, I think the Knicks will sweep the Pacers, maybe 5. I think it's not going to, and there may be a couple games that are close, but I just think the Knicks are gonna win this series and win it easily. And it's gonna be like the Hawks series in 1999, where they just sweep them, they punch them in the mouth, and see you later.
Yeah, I have more faith in Indiana. I see the Pacers in 6.
Really?
Yeah.
6.
I don't. Yeah, because I don't think Game 7. If they lose Game 6, that they lose Game 7. But I think they get 2 in New York and then finish the deal in Indiana.
2 in New York. So do you think that? So wow. So the Knicks have not lost back-to-back games with OG Anunoby in the lineup. So you think that they're going to in this series?
I don't. Well, let's see. If we go split in New York, so that's 1-1. Okay, then split in Indiana,
So
that's 2-2, and then win that Game 5. And then
6.
so 5 and 6 would be
They'll be the back-to-back. Yeah. All right, man.
That's my order.
Let's see.
Yeah. I don't know. I usually in the past, I'll be honest, I would just say the Knicks because I'm like in this karma game of if I say that, but the part that I just keep falling back on is the Knicks over a long series. Thibodeau is not playing guys at all. And I understand that Game 6, he spelled Brunson 1 minute in the fourth quarter, which he needed, which was a brilliant move there because it got him the spark he needed to close the deal in the last 4 or 5 minutes or whatever.
Right.
But you cannot, I don't think they can beat the Pacers in a 7-game series. We're not talking about one game where Josh Hart is playing 48. Brunson and Anunoby are playing 45 to 46. I don't think over the long haul that is going to be something that can help you win when it's also like the Jason Kidd years with the Nets. Whenever they benched him, it was terrifying. But they would do a rotation where Lucius Harris or Kerry Kittles would come in and be backup, and Kidd would get his 6 minutes, and he would play 42 minutes, and guys would play 30.
You have to rest.
I feel like a little, and I don't know. It's just you cannot play 45 to 48 minutes, multiple games as against a Pacer team that is fresh, because those Bucks wins. I mean, it was 6 games, but it was not the same 6 games. It was not the same 6 games. So, but the big card though, Jalen Brunson, man. If he's going to be top player in the league, I mean, that's how he played. It probably won't matter, right? And it probably won't matter if he's going to go for 40 every night, and not just 40, but the 8 to 12 points in the fourth quarter when it's close.
Right.
He definitely swayed people's viewpoint of him nationally that didn't before, and felt a little differently about him. And he had an all-time great series, and that's the big difference too from last year's Knicks, right? Jalen Brunson is playing at a different level than he was last year. Well, he was great.
He was great though last year in the playoffs.
Now he's, is he the best player in the league? Great.
Right. Last year in the playoffs, he did play really well. Don't listen to Candace Parker. Like he did play really well in the playoffs.
But not like this.
And I mean, his numbers were great. I don't know what they were. We can look it up, but like they were great. It's just that now it's 2 years in a row that he's doing this, and it's like kind of like it's not just a flash in the pan. Like let's pay attention.
into Philly and have those kind of quarters. I mean, he was brilliant. Like he was next level brilliant.
No, he was, and I'm looking up his game log for the playoffs, and like we keep saying the same thing over and over. but you have to dust off Alec Burks and you have to play him some minutes. I know it's like it's scary and he stinks and whatever, but like he's been in the league long enough. He's been in the playoffs with the Knicks. He's been in the playoffs with other teams. It's time to just, I don't know if he's been in the playoffs with other teams. Either way, he's been in the playoffs with the Knicks. He's been here. He can do it. You know what I'm saying? So Jalen Brunson in the Cleveland series last year, he went 27-2, 20-6, 21-6, 29-6, 23-4, and they won in 5. And then the Heat series, 25-7, 30-2, 20-8, 32-11, 38-7, 41-3.
Right.
So he did the same thing last year that he did now. I mean, it's more efficient this year, I guess. But I'm telling you, it's just because it's the second year in a row he's doing it.
He's playing better than he was last year. I will disagree with that. I mean, he has taken his game to another mode.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that Heat series they lost.
Right. But it wasn't because of him. It wasn't because of him that they lost.
But they won the Sixers series because of him.
Right.
Right, Alex. Like if
the
there's no Jalen Brunson,
also.
Let me take Jalen Brunson off the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
They're
garbage.
They're not good. That's just and I don't want to minimize everybody around them. They have such good pieces that come together. They just fit so perfectly. Oh man, who said it? I apologize. He's been a guest on this podcast. He has his Knicks book. You can remind me, but I was thinking
Paul Mepper.
I was
Knicks
thinking
the 90s. Yeah.
I was thinking it, but I didn't say it, and he put it on paper, and I was like, it's different, but it's the same. I was like, they're like the 2001 Sixers, where you have this all-world small
Jalen
player in Iverson, and you just have guys around Iverson that you don't have a really true number 2 scoring player, but just people that fit.
Eric Snow.
But right, you know what I'm saying? Like all the guys around him fit and played so hard that your superstar point guard, or in Iverson's case, 2 guard, whatever, got you to the finals.
Larry Brown, same kind of coach as Tibbs.
Yeah, it was very similar.
Yeah.
There was just, and I was like, oh, that to me is what the Knicks are. But like, for example, if you take Iverson off that Sixer team, they're terrible. And and you take Brunson off, all of a sudden you're asking, how is Josh Hart getting the open shots? He's not. How is, now DiVincenzo's your guy? It changes. But but that's the NBA, man. If you have top 3 players, you make it work.
To your point, also, it just shows like whenever another player stepped up in the Sixers series, the Knicks won the game. Josh Hart stepped up, DiVincenzo stepped up, and they won the game. Knicks just need help from one other player. OG Anunoby needs to be a little more aggressive, and the Knicks can sweep the Pacers.
Oh, that once, man, that was a huge swing in that game. Was the Maxey no call down to when he got hit, went down, went the other direction. Anunoby hits the 3 in the corner. And that was a 5-point swing that was just so big. Knicks took advantage of that, as I think back to moments.
I love going to playoff games, man. I love going to playoff games because every play is like the end of the game. It's like you go to a baseball. It's the same thing as baseball, where it's like you go to a baseball playoff game, and it's like every pitch and every count is like everybody's on their feet for
Baseball's
everything
bigger,
and locked in.
I would argue.
Yeah, and you go to a baseball game in July, and people are getting popcorn. Nobody gives a damn for every pitch. It's a big moment. People are into it, but it's like whatever. But like basketball is the same thing, man. It's like literally it's the first quarter, and we're yelling "Let's go!" And then the idiot Sixers fans in front of us were like, "It's not the fourth quarter. You guys relax." I'm like, "Well, we actually care about our team, so sorry," and then shut them right up.
sounds like a fight that would happen. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, no, they were harmless. It was just they were just dumb, but it was a lot of fun, man. And
I'm glad you had a good time.
I had a great time. I lost my voice, like I said, but it was all worth it. We got the win, and that's all that matters. And it would have been a fun day if they lost. It still would have been a fun day, but
different.
It wouldn't have been. The ride home wouldn't have been like whatever. Like Buddha was calling all of his friends. He called his dad. We were just like talking to everybody in the car on the way back. I should have called you. We should have just done a podcast from the road, but you were probably asleep at that point and annoyed with life.
I mean, not right away after the game, but 2 a.m. Yes,
to do a podcast at that point and record and edit and the whole.
What'd you eat?
What did I eat? So we went to Xfinity Live before the game because we got there at like 5:00 and the game was at 9 or 4:00. So we got there like 4 o'clock. Games at 9, and we go to Xfinity Live. And we sit down at the bar, and as we
What's
walk in,
Xfinity Live?
it's a
people
bar that's right in the area. So Philly has the Phillies Stadium, the Eagle Stadium, and the Sixers Flyer State Arena all in the same parking lot area. So it's kind of like, the Meadowlands. We have the stadium and the arena, but no highway in between. So you can literally just walk in the parking lot anywhere you want. And and there's a bar with a restaurant with like huge this place, and it's awesome. So we're walking in with our Knicks jerseys, and the security guard first says, "Oh, Knicks Sixers are winning tonight," and gives us a little banter. And like, all right, whatever. We're like, all right, we're gonna get a lot of that. And then as we were walking in, there's an outside bar, and this one dude just goes, "Yo, let's go!" And he just picks up his shirt and shows us his Mellow T-shirt, and he's a bartender. We dap him up, and we talked to him for a few minutes, and we sit at the bar, and then the guy behind the bar picks up his shirt and he shows he's like wearing a Brunson T-shirt, and we're like, oh my god! So that's when I posted that, and that was cool. And we went in there and we sat at the bar. I had a chicken sandwich. It was absolutely awful. I got to be honest. I took a bite into it and I couldn't get through it, so I just cut that piece off and I ate the rest. And the fries, I just needed like some carbs because I knew I was going to be drinking. And it was a good time in there. And then we went back to the car. And I don't smoke, but Buddha does, and he didn't have a lighter, and he was trying to, and wondering what's going on, and asking everybody for a lighter, and nobody had one. And then this guy's walking by in the parking lot. He's like, "Excuse me, sir, do you have a lighter?" He's like, "No, man, no." And it was Stephen Bondi from the New York Post walking by us. So we start talking to him, and took a picture, and that was cool. And then we're hanging out. Stephen Bondi was cool as hell, and and then somebody drives by and honks at us and drives by and he goes, "Oh, that was Steve Popper," like the other Knicks writer, like almost ran us over as a joke. And
as a joke.
Yeah. And then Buddha finally got his lighter from this guy who's like a Sixers drummer, like one of the drum line guys. So that was, if anybody was worried. So then we drank a few beers at the car, and then we went inside, and we talked to some fans outside the arena, and they didn't open it up until like 8:10. It was like ridiculous. And so then we go in the arena, and it was pretty even with it. I thought there was gonna be a lot more Knicks fans based on the amount of Knicks fans I saw before the game, but it was definitely 75-25 Sixers fans. And we go right to our seats, and it was just like, wow, these seats were great. I'm so glad we did that. And it was a lot of fun. It was just so much fun. We were drinking, but not too much. We were like right at that buzz line where we're buzzed, but we're not drunk. And every so often we get another beer to like keep yourself at that line. And like I usually don't do a good job at staying at that line. I usually go a little too far. But because I really wanted to watch the game, I just was like, I care more about this game than drinking right now. So it was a lot of fun.
Very mature of you.
Yes. I've grown. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So it also helped that I had like 17 hours before the game to plan that out. And like, I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't want to drink, whatever. And when we were at Xfinity Live, so to rewind, we're sitting there, and like 5 Knicks fans come in and sit next to us, and they're like ripping shots, and we're talking to them. And I'm like, whoa, we are not doing that. Like it's like 5:30. Like these guys are crazy.
Take a nap.
And then these 2 Sixers fans walk in, skinny young guys in their 20s, and they go, "Oh, you look at you pussies." And I was like, "Yes, we're the pussies." And they just kept walking by, said it, and I was just like, "All right, guys, like whatever." Even the bartender was like mocking them. Like, yeah, okay, dude. Yeah, see ya. Yes, we're pussies. Yes, okay. As you say it, and run away. Yes, thanks.
Well, I'm glad you had the full experience.
Yes, so that's the.
I was hoping you'd leave with a loss, but
no. Well, thankfully we didn't, and it's going to be tough to finagle this 3:30 Sunday game on Mother's Day when I'm going to be at my in-laws. So that's going to be a little tough to
that time Sunday's game. I mean, all I wanted this year for my birthday was to not hate watch the Knicks.
When's your birthday?
It's on Sunday?
Friday. Oh.
And I was like, because
wow.
I don't
go
want
3-0 on your birthday. That'd be great.
No, yeah. Well, or 3-0 Indy. That's game 1 in Indiana. So that'll make it 2-1 Pacers. But I'm probably not going to watch that live, and I'll just watch it Saturday morning. I'm not doing that. I'm being honest right now.
Unless the Pacers are up 2-0. No. Then you'll be like, different. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is time. But I just
wanted one day. I'm not a big like birthday guy. Like I don't get into it, but I was like, all I want because last year was game 5, Knicks Heat.
Ooh.
And that was a Knicks win. Although I couldn't watch, I only had to watch the second half of that because I was coming home from teaching.
Right.
But that's all I wanted. And I was pissed when I saw that schedule. don't want to hate watch the Knicks.
I was kind of pissed also. We got the gauntlet of Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, 1, 2, 3, 4. And like that's like every other day. That's almost like a baseball playoffs where it's like almost every day. You just gotta go through this emotional stress.
Good for the Pacers.
It's good for the Pacers.
When I would have at his 50th minute.
I would have preferred having 2 days off in between 2 and 3 like they had in the last series. But you know what? It went a little longer, the series, so they couldn't spread out the next games. Both were supposed to win in 5, and it didn't happen. So
yeah, you were wrong with all your predictions.
I was kind of close. I got the 6.
Still wrong.
Yeah.
Still wrong.
It's true. I was
kind of close. I was right. You were wrong.
I don't care. Knicks won the series. I can be wrong about the prediction. And then Porzingis injured. What a surprise. And Celtics have a little chink in the armor there, man. And
they still beat the Heat by 50.
The Heat didn't have Jimmy Butler or Terry Rozier.
I understand, but they still beat the shit out of them.
That's great.
Watch what they do in the next round versus Cleveland, Orlando. It'll be the same thing.
How about Cleveland going to 7 and they pick the Magic? Oh my God, I hope they lose just because they disrespected the game by losing the last game of the year.
I called, by the way, beginning of the season. I said Dallas would be very good.
Yeah, because I just assumed something would happen with Kyrie. Off the court.
Well, he doesn't live in New York, so it helps.
Right. Like they don't care about,
never mind. It's just a different world.
It's a different world in Texas. Yes.
Yeah. It's like, I know everybody's like, oh, the media giving him space and look what has. Okay.
Well, not space. It's just nobody gives a shit about the Mavericks.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a rabid fan base. I wouldn't say no one gives a shit.
But
it's not the media attention that he's going to get. It's different.
Listen, there aren't, thousands of Jews that live in Dallas.
Yes.
That's the difference.
That wasn't,
so, he can hide in his silo down there and that's fine.
But he and Luka have been great. I knew it. I knew it in my core that they would be awesome.
They're definitely beatable though. But PJ Washington was a great pickup for them at the trade deadline. I wanted the Knicks to get him, but turns out Preston Achua has turned out well, so that's fine.
I mean, look at the Western Conference. You got Dallas, OKC, awesome second round. Denver, Minnesota, awesome second round. The East, not as interesting.
Like the Knicks series was all it was.
Celtics versus Orlando or Cleveland, okay. And Knicks Pacers. I mean, it's not as sexy.
No, it is
not as sexy. I wanted to close out with this.
Sure.
And I texted this to you, and you per usual, were like, great point. So I checked my baby monitor. Josh Hart and Richard Jefferson, personality-wise, I see so much similar personality, and why I loved RJ on the Nets and as a media member, and why Knick fans love Josh Hart. And I wanted to say, for all the Knick fans that are always like getting on Richard Jefferson for being a troll, it's why you love Josh Hart, because of how he trolls other teams and how he loves his Knicks. So just think about it from that end, as he's making fun of the Nets and their fans, and he's poking fun at. It's the same thing, and it's why I've said on this show that if Josh Hart was a Net, I'm sure I would love the guy, and for everything he brings on the court. Right, it's just going 100% at all times. But just think back when you're like, oh, I hate Richard Jefferson. All he does is troll the Knicks, and then you go, I love Josh Hart. He trolls other teams. I just want everybody to, when you got to the end of this podcast, to think about that, meditate on that, and reflect on that. I'd love to hear from you. Give me a call. 201-21. No, I won't do that, but
8675309. Right.
I just wanted, that's just something to think about is you enjoy your Saturday, whatever you're doing. Home Sunday. Depot, Lowe's, brunch. Hate brunch. But anyway, whatever you want to do.
I love brunch. You hate brunch. Eggs. Mike hates eggs, guys.
It's not even. I don't like.
Mike hates eggs. Say it. You hate eggs.
I hate eggs.
So strange.
Almost as much as the Knicks.
I don't understand that. How can you hate eggs?
I like eggs and fried rice. That's it.
Eggs and fried. Oh, like if it's Chinese, I get it. But it just makes no sense.
I don't
scrambled
like
egg or a sunny side up egg and dip your toast in the yolk, and that's amazing.
I don't know if you get up, have breakfast, or wait till lunch. None of this in between bullshit. And all the food at brunch is overpriced bullshit.
Avocado toast is just a piece of bread with some avocado and a sunny side up egg, and it's like $35.
Right. And on top of that, I hate Sunday mornings so much that you're gonna tell I do not like brunch.
I love brunch.
Don't get it. I don't get it.
I never went out for brunch. I like going out for breakfast, like it was early and like you go to the
That I like.
diner but brunch is a thing in New York City and it's
No, I know.
fun.
I
Yeah,
get
I
it.
love it.
I hate
You
it.
know,
I hate it.
I may go out for brunch today, Mike, and I'll send you a picture of my food.
Yeah,
You'll
go
love it.
fuck yourself, Alex. You have fun with that. This has been
So
bad weather
what's your
fans.
quick? What's your
Yeah.
finals prediction? First round's basically over. You just have the Magic and the Cavs, so they kind of cancel each other out anyway. So what's your finals prediction now?
Celtics, Nuggets.
Celtics Nuggets. Okay. So
You,
basically the second round matchups right now are Thunder Mavericks, Nuggets and Timberwolves, Knicks and Pacers, and Celtics versus the Cavs or Magic. So
yourself.
God, man, I want to pick the Knicks so bad.
So then do
But
it.
I'm gonna wait because I'm gonna hold off and I'm gonna
No,
say
no,
the
no, 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 no,
Celtics.
no.
I'm
You
gonna say the
can't ask
Celtics.
me the. You
I
can't
want to
ask
pick the
me.
Knicks.
Well, you can't ask me to make my pick, and then be like, "Well, I need to see how the Knicks play versus the Pacers."
I
Well,
want to.
that's
No,
all
I'm
right.
not worried about that. I just don't know if they're gonna beat the Celtics. So like, I don't know if that's a homer pick or like, I just think the Knicks can beat the Celtics if they get there and take it to 7, especially with the Porzingis injury. But I'm gonna
So
go
then pick the
Celtics.
Knicks.
I'm gonna go Celtics and Timberwolves. How about that?
I could see Minnesota. You're always right about the Western Conference.
I
I'm going
was
to
right
change
about
my.
the
I'm
Nuggets
going to
last
change my
year.
pick.
I did nail the Nuggets last year to win the championship.
I'm going to
So
change mine to Minnesota.
listen, Anthony Edwards is insane and Towns is healthy. And another thing, last thing, and it's good to have at the end of the show because nobody cares about the Timberwolves here, but Rudy Gobert trade, worst trade in the history of the sport. Well, the Timberwolves may win the championship, so I think that they're doing pretty okay with Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
And how are the Jazz? Now they have these picks, all these picks that are going to be at the bottom of the first round. Like, congrats on that. Now you got to trade Laurie Markkinen and get some more picks.
Well,
Genius Danny Ainge, right? Genius, the genius Danny Ainge.
well, Danny Ainge has only been there for a year,
Quote
so
unquote genius.
I mean,
GM,
let's-
one
let's-
championship and nothing.
let's.
50 years. Yeah, great guy.
I mean, I don't want to be defending Danny Ainge, but the Celtics
Yes, you
are in
do.
a good place. Let's cool it on. Let's see what he. I Okay, he was
Kyrie
right. For
did
the,
screw them.
so
Kyrie did
this
screw
is-
them.
this-
So
this is-
I'll put it that way, though.
This
Kyrie
is where
did screw
you're.
them.
This is where you're incorrect about your Danny Ainge hate with the Jazz. They were going. See, get mad at the media for the praise that they're giving Danny Ainge. Don't get mad at Danny Ainge. That Jazz team was done with Mitchell and Gobert. They were going nowhere. It was over. So he blew.
They were
he
the
rec-
Sixers now. They were the Sixers now. Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
he recognized this team has reached its ceiling. So I'm going to go out and deal Mitchell, and I'm going to deal Gobert and get an influx of draft picks and rebuild. That's what he did. Now, get mad at the media for saying how much he's a genius. But as far as execution of what was the right move to long haul try to win a championship, that was the right decision. The team wasn't going to do anything. Like you said, it's like the Sixers. But in the West, they made that decision to move forward. And I think that was the right decision as opposed to keep running it out there, and they would have kept losing. So, yeah, is Danny Ainge the genius? No, but he did get a ton of draft picks and made the right decision. So I would say I think the trade worked out so far, especially if Minnesota keeps winning, and that for both teams.
Okay.
Oh, come on. That was a great point. Give me more
It
than
was a good
okay.
point. I still think he's overrated. And I think,
Now you're
it
just
is
being
what
a
it is.
hater. I mean, now you
He did the right thing.
did
I
the
mean,
right thing.
listen, but he's not a genius for saying, "Oh my God, this Jazz team is."
So
is
get
reached the
mad
top."
at the media. Don't get mad at him. That's what I'm saying. He's not out. He's not. It's not like he's walking out there going, "Hey, Danny, I'm the genius." That's what people have labeled him. Get mad
Right.
at those people.
Fine.
Thank
Fine.
you.
I'll be mad at them. Also, last thing about the Jazz, Laurie Markkinen, and I don't want to look forward for the Knicks, but I'm going to hear would be the perfect power forward for the
He'd
Knicks.
be a nice fit.
The perfect. But you can't trade Julius Randle because he's injured, and he's back with CAA, so he's not going anywhere. So that's
I
another
think
big news.
we'll do a minute of the Nets. I think that the Nets
Oh,
will be
fuck,
going
yeah.
will be going star hunting. No, you have a bias. You don't remember. It's fine.
I forgot. I'm sorry.
I'm
No, but you
sure.
should have brought it up. It's your fault. You
No,
could've
it's a natural
brought it up.
transition. I did.
Yeah.
That's fine. You put the blame on me. Like the Knicks.
We're like
Man.
ending the show, and we're talking about the Jazz, and then we're like, "Oh shit!" Actually,
No,
the
it's not a
Nets.
no shit. If it's natural, it's natural. I'm not gonna force feed. I'm not gonna force feed it. But I will say I think the Nets are going star hunting. I think they are. And in the Suns picks, although they don't have the Sun pick this year, you can see down the road how those picks can have value. Just with the Suns and their age and their with the whole thing. We know what's going on with Phoenix. Those picks this offseason grew in value based on how bad Phoenix is. And I think the Nets are going to use those and go star hunting. And I can't wait for this NBA offseason for two reasons. Even if they do win the goddamn title, the Knicks, at least it'll be over. And also, I think you're going to see a lot of crazy movement. I think you're going to see a lot of crazy trades. And the more and more I see it, I think the writing's on the wall that Sean Marks is going after guys. So I think they're going to go star hunting.
He's desperate. Sean Marks is desperate, and he can't run out this team with Cam Thomas and Mikal Bridges again,
and Noah Clowney
and Noah Clowney, excuse me, Obi Toppin.
We'll see,
but
we'll see if it's Obi Toppin.
Obi Toppin does play well in the playoffs, I gotta say. But anyway, the Nets should deal those Suns picks now before the Suns may make another trade and get good again, because they do have 3 stars.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And
but
they're over that. I know they're at that
sorry.
apron and they can't add, and I get the whole bullshit. But like, maybe hold on to 1 or 2. But like, I don't know how many they have. They have 3, right? So I would hold on to whatever they have. I would hold on to something just to keep something in my pocket, just to have that insurance. But trade those picks now where you can be like, listen, look at this Suns team. They're going nowhere. These picks are going to be valuable. And now you could get a Lauri Markkanen from the Jazz. You know what I'm saying? You can get somebody like that. You can, that's the avenue for the Nets. I hear you there. And I think they're going to get Donovan Mitchell also maybe from the Cavs. That's a lot of smoke there, so.
Been smoke there forever, man.
At least especially if they lose. So you should be rooting for the Magic, because if you want Donovan Mitchell.
No, you're right.
Bridges,
You're right.
Yeah.
No, you should be rooting for Cleveland to implode.
Yeah.
You should be rooting for Cleveland to implode. No, the draft picks. The problem, Alex, is the Suns and their owner is on the record. He doesn't value these picks at all.
No.
They're going to have no draft picks for 10 years.
It's like Isaiah Thomas
insane.
there. And isn't he helping him? Is Isaiah Thomas his advisor, I think?
I got to sneeze. I don't know.
I think he's his advisor. Is he? I don't know. I heard something. I don't know if that was a joke, because when somebody was telling me, I think it was in my group chat, somebody was telling me that, like, I was like, this is like Isaiah Thomas kind of shit here with what they're doing with the draft picks. And they're like, I think he's their advisor, so I don't know if that's true or not. I can't find it. And I'm Googling, I'm on his Wikipedia page, and I can't find if he works for the, maybe they were talking about the other Isaiah Thomas, the player that's there now. I don't know, but like as a joke. So I don't know, but is he?
They have here's the Phoenix picks. So they used one already. They drafted Noah Clowney.
Yeah.
They have Phoenix unprotected pick in 2025.
Okay.
They have Philly's pick in 2027.
Ooh.
Protected 1 through 8, unfortunately. They have Phoenix pick 2027, no protections. They have
then Durant's going to be gone. Yeah.
They have Phoenix's pick 2029, no protections.
Wow.
They have Dallas's pick 2029, no protections. And then they start to get their own draft picks back. They have
we're in 2030. What are we doing?
They don't have it this year. They don't have it this year. But then they start to get their own picks back in 2026. So 2026 on, they're going to have all these Phoenix and Dallas picks. And that's what they're banking on, is all those picks. That's the value there. Like Phoenix in 3 years, Alex, is going to be horrific.
Yeah.
How are they going to rebuild?
Unless they trade, they can't trade Bradley Beal unless they trade Booker and get like a haul back for him. But then what do you do?
Picks back. And Durant's old. I mean, Durant's not playing in 2030.
No. And they're not that good with Durant now.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we got to take Durant off this
no, he's not the
platform,
same guy.
That he wins all the time. He's out of the first round again, in a sweep. Like I don't care how great you are at your stats. If you're not winning first round series, like you're just not that good anymore.
Well, it just shows you too, the way to build is like the Knicks with talent around with pieces that fit. And I'm not just saying it's like the Knicks, like,
well, they got lucky.
Minnesota has
the Knicks got lucky.
Brunson thing. I mean,
they got lucky.
Really,
like they knew he was good, and they knew he was a starting point guard. They didn't know he was this good. Even Leon Rose didn't know that. Even Rick Brunson didn't know this.
No,
like that's it.
It was like everybody thought they got Fred VanVleet.
Right.
Okay, we upgraded.
Got a nice point guard, and let's build around Randall and see what we can do. And now look at
So
us.
fucking annoying.
It's amazing. It's
So I
amazing.
tweeted, I was like, why couldn't Rick Brunson be the assistant of the Hornets? Like, I mean, it was just
Blame Julius Randle, because we talk about this all the time. Woj Pod. Julius Randle, after the bad season, the second year with Tibbs, when they missed the playoffs and they had Fournier and all these guys and they were nowhere, they went out to dinner. Leon Rose, Worldwide West, Alfred Payton, a couple other people, Kenny Payne, and they went out to dinner in the city, Italian food. They said Upper East Side. And Randall pitched his theory, saying that Leon Rose should take over the Knicks, and they pitched it to Dolan, and Dolan bought it. And to his credit, and now here we are. Because Leon Rose is best friends with Rick Brunson, and Leon Rose is basically Jalen's uncle. And Jalen Brunson grew up with Tibbs because Rick Brunson was his assistant in Chicago. I mean, Rick Brunson was Tibbs' assistant in Chicago. I said that right. And all of it came together, and Jalen Brunson just became a superstar, and now they don't even need Randall. So as much as I hate Randall, he really, I don't hate Randall. I don't want to say that. As much as I dislike a lot of his things on the court, he really started this new era of New York Knicks basketball. Put it that way. And I've silenced Mike. Mike's more interested in the kind of food that they had at the Italian place and where they went.
Yeah, Bad Weather Fans, episode 219. Don't forget to subscribe. Watch us on YouTube if you want to see Alex being, because I deemed him now Dick for Clicks, because the Knicks for Clicks thing is over. You're just being a dick. And did get a reaction.
I did.
Go on his Twitter feed.
It shows I am who I am.
Yeah.
It's not.
Now, let's see. I ask you this. Would you put that on Instagram?
I would not. I've actually have not shown my wife that video because she'll get pissed. She'll be like, "You have a son. What are you doing?" I was like, I've not
see
shown
that. That's the determining factor is if you put it. Would you put it on LinkedIn?
Of course not. I don't even have on LinkedIn my
put that on LinkedIn
podcast.
Put it on LinkedIn.
Put it on LinkedIn.
I want you
I've
to
never
put that
posted on LinkedIn, and I'm going to post it's all my finance stuff and
Looking
real
for a
professional
job.
Alex. I'm not going to be like
communication skills plus interacts with his employees around him. All right, Bad Weather Fans. We'll see you, Alex.
Thank you.